Welcome back to the Gaslight Fam Podcast. Is our temporary name, at least, that we're rocking with, and we are jumping right into our discussion today. Aimee, good to see you once again, and we're going to proceed with your question from Ask Men, Ask Reddit. Go ahead.
Yes. So, Ask Men on Reddit. Question for Derek. Dear men of Reddit, what is something you have done for a woman which you thought was nice but was taken as creepy/wrong by the latter?
Ooh. I thought was nice, and she took it as creepy or wrong. You already have one that you can think of? Now, did you think about this question and already be thinking about how you would answer it if somebody asked you the same way? I'm asking you as I'm letting my mind explore the different corners
Honestly,
of
I did
possibilities.
not think about it, but if I had to think like as a woman, let's say, has there ever been a time where I gave, let's say, a gift to a guy that seemed inappropriate, maybe? Or maybe not say inappropriate, but like wrong or creepy.
Okay, so let's just maybe throw out. Did you already look at some examples that they shared?
No, should we? Okay, let's get some inspiration.
I know,
really quick
right? I'm
from
like
the other men.
And if you're just tuning in, what Aimee asked me, inspired by an Ask Men and Ask Reddit, which was, what is one gift or gesture? Was it gift or gesture, or was it just gift?
What is something you have done for a woman? So I guess just an act. It could just be an act. It doesn't have to necessarily be a gift.
That she interpreted as creepy, or what was other?
Or wrong.
Or wrong.
Okay. They have good ones. Honestly, I didn't think about this. So like giving her a ride back to her car after what I thought was a mutual friend got drunk and she volunteered to drive them back home in their car.
Hold on. This is Ask Men, and wait, she who did what?
Yeah, I didn't write. I guess it's a man saying offering her a ride back to her car after what I thought was a mutual friend got drunk and she volunteered to drive them home in their car. So I guess it's two women, and he says, and she, like his friend, it says she'll go with the drunk girl to ride home, and he offers, instead of driving home with the drunk girl, I can take you home.
And that was perceived as creepy?
Yeah, that is creepy.
Wait. Okay. There's drunk girl, non-drunk girl, and then the guy.
And the two non-drunk ones are mutual friends. What he thought was mutual friends.
Okay, so the guy offers what? Or she?
Oh, okay. He also says... It continues, okay? Turns out the two girls had been dating a short while, so when I offered a second time, she made it very clear to me, everyone in our group, that her and I were not dating.
I am so lost.
Okay, so a man is out with these two women.
Man is out.
With these two women and
Two
the
women.
group. The two women are dating, but one of them is drunk. The one that's drunk is going to drive the two women home because they're dating.
Okay, the drunk person is going to drive, okay?
Yes. So then he instead offers to take the non-drunk one home, or maybe both of them.
Okay.
Either way. And when he does that, he offers twice to make sure, and that's when she says, you and I are not dating, right? To him.
I thought this question was, what did the man do to make it creepy?
Yep.
And why is...
To the women, it was creepy.
Oh, to the woman. Okay. I feel like that's... Yeah, I feel like so this doesn't really apply. It's not really... So maybe it's a misunderstanding?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
I also think, like, just in general, maybe giving a woman a ride anywhere.
Ever?
Yeah, like a woman you don't know. I think that's creepy.
Giving a woman a ride anywhere
That you don't know?
I thought, isn't that like the definition of a date?
No, like let's say you're driving down the street and you see a woman walking and you're like, hey, do you need a ride to, you see she's carrying like a laundry basket and you're like, do you need a ride to the laundromat? She gets in the car, you give her. But even just pulling over to ask if she needs a ride, like I think that's awkward. That's weird and creepy.
Okay, okay, but I'm saying to make it so absolute that every single situation that a man is driving somebody he doesn't really know. I'm saying a very first date, they met online and then they're meeting up and he's giving her a ride. I'm like, yeah, that's not categorically creepy to me.
Well, nowadays you're supposed to meet at the restaurant.
What if she doesn't have a car and doesn't have money for Uber?
Then she doesn't need to be going out on dates, Derek.
Okay, back to me. If I done some, I'm probably. I mean, I feel like.
Oh, this one says, when leaving school late one night, I found a textbook on the ground. According to the name inside, it belonged to an old friend. Having no way to contact her, I looked up her address in the directory, rode my bike there, and dropped it off at her house. She called me a stalker, and every interaction after that until graduation. It was painful.
Okay, let's see. I feel like I gotta have something, right? Like you gotta have something. No, I don't know if this was perceived as creepy, but okay. Frames of reference is interesting because I remember doing like gifs and you like words of encouragement and you cutting out the words from a magazine and like pasting it. I didn't find out later, so that's what something that serial killers do
Yeah.
in their letters, and it's like, but I don't know if it was perceived in a negative way.
That does sound creepy.
Yeah, I think I thought about it later. I was like, oh, okay, that sounds funny. I'm glad that I don't have any core memories that have like
Of
disturbed my
making
soul.
like a super mistake like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to like go through like every relationship. I'm going, I can't think of anything with my wife. Anything before that? Can't think of anything. No, I can't think of anything.
Maybe if you had more time.
Well, it's weird because like the way your brain works, at least the brain naturally gravitates toward associations, and I'm thinking about the associations with making somebody uncomfortable. But then it also implies this idea of like you actually memorizing and holding on to memories that kind of bothered you. I can't believe I did that. What was I thinking, right?
Yeah.
And then it's also somebody who happens to even spend time thinking about those things. So, yeah, maybe I'm just nuts. I can think of one. So it's creepy or uncomfortable.
Or wrong.
I don't know. So, and I don't even know if it was interpreted this way, but this is one moment I thought back and I was like, what cringe concept was going through my brain when I thought this would be a good idea? So, early in my life, it's me, and I think it's the first time meeting this girl's parents, first, second, or third time. And we're there, and I think it would be funny to get cake and put it on her, like on her face. She thinks it's funny too. She puts it back on me, and then all of a sudden we're like covered. And this is like one of the first times meeting her parents. I'm like, this is probably not like the mature, grounded thing that I want to be her parents remembering me for. Ultimately, it didn't work out. So it didn't matter. So praise Jesus for that. Anyway, but yeah, that might be the closest one, which I think in my memory of it is that it was welcomed by her, but I just thought like the parent look, like it just wasn't a good parent look. So.
Yeah.
Any on your side that you have any memory of?
I do feel like sometimes I do things and like when I think about them like, oh, no big deal. And then other people are kind of like, that's weird. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I guess I can't think specifically, but I know like sometimes if I see something or I don't know, I'm so funny about things.
All right, we're going to ask Reddit on your side of the table.
Okay.
I got. How do you deal with fake friends or people who make you feel less important?
I personally just stopped talking to them. I think I find it best to avoid things. I don't get too bothered. I don't like get hurt feelings when I feel like somebody doesn't make me a priority or like think, I'm important or whatever. I think it's sometimes, especially if like I know somebody's important to me, I don't mind being a bother, which I'm sure I've mentioned it before, but like if somebody's important to me and I'm not necessarily like on their high importance list, like I will still go out of my way to like reach out to them and talk to them and do things, I don't mind things being one-sided, but like especially if it's like my family, like I text Pops all the time and sometimes he doesn't reply to me, but like I don't mind texting him over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But if I feel like what could, it depends on also who the person is. Like Pops, I don't think that there's anything he could like treat me unimportant enough to make me stop like caring about him. But if it's like one of my friends that's really like not prioritizing me or like pushing our friendship to the side, like I will just stop being their friend.
And then so you answered the part of the question about making you feel less important. What about the fake friend part? And maybe we could define, well, what are some concepts and ideas that come to mind when it comes to being a fake friend? I was even asking myself, like, have I experienced that at all ever? And or if it's ever happened, has it ever got back to me in such a way? Like, I feel like, again, I'll let you answer, but what is a fake friend?
I think a fake friend would be the same thing as like a fake person. Like someone who when they do things, you feel like they're not being genuine. I feel like your actual friends can do fake things, like they can make a decision where they're not thinking about you or do something stupid and it hurts your feelings or do something mean to you, but I don't think that necessarily made them a fake friend. I think a fake friend is someone who genuinely is not sincere, not like a real person.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe that. Have you ever met anybody who's like overly expressive? Like
I met one of my friend at San Antonio College. He would make up stories about how he played on different college basketball teams and again like
you're not real.
When somebody lies that much, it makes you go, wait, like, is he trolling? Like, is he just playing around? Like, is this just a part of like a really long-standing gag that he never actually says that I'm lying or playing? And he goes on and each time, and he talks about grades he made or SAT scores and all of these things that he said he did, and then you go and wait, what?
Yeah, no. So yeah, I think those kinds of people, I tried to just not, like, if I have to associate with those kinds of people, I feel like they're so overly, like, they overdo it. Yeah, they do lie excessively and all of those things. If I have to be acquainted with them, I don't, share too many personal things. I don't say too much. And I just kind of keep them at arm's length, but not, like, bring them into my inner circle or even I would never ask their advice.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
All right, let me think about that. Fake friends. So I don't know if I've had any experience with them except for that one, but it was kind of like he played basketball around us and he would hang out with us. But I almost think maybe a fake friend speaks bad about you when you're not around. But it's almost like, who would a fake friend speak bad about me to?
Yeah.
Or like there's this quote that I liked. I forget.
Hear that, Mom? Fake friend.
Well, there was this quote I really liked, because it's like one thing if somebody talks bad about you.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, oh, like why would they feel so comfortable talking to you, talking bad about
Me.
me to you? Why are they so comfortable with you? And it speaks to the receiver of that, and it's almost like, oh, you would let somebody. Oh, you're the kind of person that lets people talk bad about them to you, and they're so comfortable with that. So that speaks more about your character because you're willing to let people gossip, you're willing to let people lie, you're willing to let people talk down on somebody else who's not even in the circle. So I feel again fortunate that people in my circle have been that have the character where we would have each other's back if somebody's talking foul or sideways about them. That then they would get checked.
Is it true though?
Is what part true?
Like whatever they're saying. If somebody's lying, that's one thing. But if they're saying something true and it's bad, that's still bad?
Well, then maybe it's categorical. So categorical slander would be, I think, a falsehood spread about you. There's somebody slandering your name.
Yeah.
A gossip would be somebody who it's true what they're saying, that you trusted to somebody in confidence. You expected a confidentiality to be upheld, yet it was shared. So that's probably categorically, again, two different things, but still two problematic, toxic things to do.
Yeah. For sure. But, we've talked about it before that you can't necessarily change, like, what other people do. You can really just, I guess you as your own person would stop talking to that person about those personal items or personal
Right.
things.
If somebody and it's kind of interesting thing for me as a communicator, as a writer, and giving speeches and like believing in vulnerability. So I've it's even to think about things that I haven't shared openly or publicly is an interesting topic. Okay, like wait, if I talked about so many things openly, if I wrote about things that mistakes that I've made, then like what things can be gossiped about me?
It's like at the end of 8 Mile when they're rapping.
Yeah.
And he just says all the bad things about himself, right?
Right. So I
pay
think
attention.
You pay attention to what?
Everything. Just kidding.
Okay. All right. So then fake friends, how do you deal with them? People that make you feel less important. Yeah, I think similar to you when it comes to people making me feel less important. I know like people just do things and sometimes I wonder, hey, is this intentional or is this the way they kind of carry themselves?
Yeah.
Like sometimes I remember a friend had told me she had did this speech. She had spoken like for TED, like the TED Talk or whatever.
Yeah.
She had did a TED Talk, and then she was sharing with me. She was like, I think you're ready for TED, and I'm like, okay, two interpretations. The pure interpretation, she's saying, hey, you're a qualified speaker. You'd be good over there. You'd be good to do that. The way I took that was my portfolio of speaking engagements and seminars and things that I've already done. Like I get paid. I've been paid very well to speak. So the idea that I'm ready for that, I'm ready to go give a free speech on a stage like that, like that's not a step up. That's a step down. So like again, maybe that's arrogance, and maybe that's like my own ego like coming into play. But it was like, but the idea where it's like, I think what I kind of maybe overly interpreted what she had said, which was like, oh hey, I've done this thing, and I think you're ready to go to where I've been already. But I'm like, but you haven't even got paid like to do speeches or whatever. So anyway, ego. I think maybe that was involved there. But I think that's somebody who made me feel like I was less than them, and it could get kind of interesting. But yeah, that's similar to you. It's like, yeah, they're probably not going to be, if that's the way they carry themselves, like just casually, and they don't have like, they don't realize, again, the subtle.
Problematic.
It wasn't even like a backhanded compliment. It just seemed to just lack some of the awareness.
Yeah.
Of how I would be processing something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Makes sense. All
right. Number 3. Okay, so we did Ask Reddit on my side, Ask Reddit on your side. Chapter 1, intentional growth. You're gonna pull out one thing specifically that spoke to you from that chapter. Growth has to be intentional. What is one thing you want to point out from the chapter?
I really liked when he says motivation is like love and happiness. It is a byproduct. When you're actively engaged in doing something, it sneaks up and zaps you when you least expect it. So that I liked the quote mainly because I felt like it speaks more to like not waiting, like how people say like God helps those who help themselves. I feel like it's kind of the same concept. Like you can't get motivated to do something unless you start doing something. I think if you're laying around in bed all day, every day, and you're waiting for the motivation or you're waiting for these things to come to you, yeah, I do think that things are going to come your way when they're supposed to. The right things at the right time are going to come your way. But I do feel like things happen faster when you're moving. Like you're able to get more motivated faster.
Yes.
And I think that's super important. I think that motivation is super important. Not even just like motivation, you have to be gung-ho, ready to like jump in, go as fast as you. I think motivation also is like even the small things, like having your, let's say, like having a backpack packed for you to specifically go running, and so that that's like, even if you don't want to do it, that backpack that you have packed, or like for me, since I have Kalel, like having all of Kalel's snacks and everything ready for us to go to the park, like having those things together, even if I don't feel like doing it, the having things together will motivate me to still go.
Yeah.
Even if it's not always like I have to want to go and spend 6 hours at the gym. That's motivation. Like sometimes it is, but it's not always like do it right then and there. Sometimes it's small things gradually.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
And I think it does capture, I like that idea of the byproducts of happiness like a byproduct, motivation like a byproduct. Because sometimes when I wondered if I asked myself how many times when I actually go running did I feel like it in the first place, and I'm like, it's certainly not 100%.
Yeah.
Am I saying 50%? Like, but then it's like, how many times after I've done the workout do I go, man, I'm really glad I did that? 100% of the time. Like, I think I could say 100% of the time, every single time I've worked out, I look back and I go, man, I'm really glad I started, and I'm really glad I got through, and man, it feels so good on this side of it. So then the motivation didn't come, but almost the gratitude and the consequence of putting in that work definitely makes me feel glad and elevated.
Yep. Precisely.
Happiness as well. So then, like, I will probably go, I'm probably on the extreme of being mindful of what it means to make somebody happy. And I'm going, I guess I'm less convinced than ever that somebody making decisions with their self elevated above all is a roadway to happiness.
Yeah.
So then sometimes we could use the language, whether we're in a relationship or we're thinking about we want with the other person. I want to make them happy. I want to make them feel good. I want to do what pleases them. Well, one of the things that seems to be really effective with pleasing people is being selfless and serving. So it's not just somebody who always has it their way. They get to buy what they want. They get to do what they want. I haven't seen that as a recipe on the roadway to happiness. In fact, sometimes when people get their way all of the time, for some reason, that seems to almost embitter them and make them more frustrated and irritated, even when people are taking care of them.
Yeah, because you're looking for external things to give you the happiness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same, man, like thinking about it too. I feel like when you go on vacation, I don't know if you do the planning or the packing when you go on vacation, but I feel like so many times when I'm getting me, Jeremy, Kalel, all of us, everything that we need to go on vacation or to go out of town. I'm like, okay, do we pack this? Do we have snacks? Do we have this? And it's like, it stresses me out and it's a lot of work and it's all these things we have to do. And Jeremy's like, why do you do this? Why do you bother? Like, we don't have to go. We can just stay here. It's obviously doing all this planning, doing all this running around. This vacation's supposed to help you relax, not stress you out. It's supposed to help you relax, have a good time, be happy. But now you're stressed out, and I think it's part of that same thing. Kind of like I'm setting myself up to enjoy something later, So it's like while I'm doing it, sometimes I don't always feel in the moment like, oh, like I'm really super excited. Every time I'm packing up a pair of shorts, I'm like, oh, yes, I'm so excited. It's more like, oh, my God, I got to hurry up and, get all this together. Or even like planning Kalel's party. Like planning Kalel's party is all like, it's a lot of stress. I got to do all the decorations. I got to figure out who's going to make everything and get everything paid for. So it's like stressing me out. And Jeremy's like, well, why do you stress you out? Why do you do that? Just do something simple. And then I'm like, because I know that the day of like, I'm going to be so excited and I'm going to be so happy. So maybe that's another thing too.
Yeah. Yes.
I think you do have to work for your happiness. You have to work for motivation. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you could just be happy doing something.
Yeah, and whenever I've heard of situations, so I maybe I'm probably like, because I've seen extremes so many times play out on TV, and like when I could feel manipulated and I could feel like pulled, and I see what this TV show is trying to do. I see what the director or the writers were trying to do and make me feel, and what they'll like paint this picture of like I can see where the whole storyline is going. Like, they're trying to make the audience see happiness is more important than family loyalty. So if that's the case, then she should cheat on her husband because that would make her happier than being in this other situation. So like you have these situations where I go, wait, I see they're trying to elevate happiness over virtue. And then I always get triggered, like wait, I see what you're doing. Why are you doing me? Why are you trying to do me like that? Why are you trying to do us like that? Why are you trying to communicate that message? So that I get all triggered about it and I'm going, hold on. But the answer, the other part of the question is there a time when somebody has neglected themselves so much, so many times in the name of everybody else, they do nothing for themselves, and everything is for other people, then it's like, they've like almost lost themselves in taking care of other people or in building other people up. And then it's like, okay, now to prioritize themselves is creating other problems because people are expecting them to just be the same person they always were, which was always sacrifice all of you in the name of somebody else. So I could see how maybe 5% or 10% of the time, like them actually prioritizing themselves and it creating problems in their marriage or in their family just because everybody expects them to be the same old doormat they have always been as opposed to making time for themselves. I could see how that could create problems. So maybe that's, again, 1 out of 20 situations. Like I'm just throwing out numbers here. But I could see that where when you neglect something for so long, you start doing it, then it creates some problems. But those problems are a reflection of people just, manipulating you, taking advantage.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay. Any other thoughts there on your side?
I don't think so. I guess. Yeah, I don't think so.
All right. I'm going to hop in to my side of it.
Oh, you know what that whole thing kind of reminded me of? Like when moms go on vacation. So like moms will go spend like 24 hours at the beach with their friends, right?
Mm.
But like leave the kids behind with the dad. And then they're like, the dad's like, people are looking at the mom like, oh, that's really selfish of you to leave the kids behind for a whole 24 hours or 48 hours. But like after so many years or so long of like constantly giving yourself to your children and giving yourself to your husband and doing all these things for other people, then, you take time for yourself. It is kind of like, especially people from the outside, especially like when husbands do take the time to, stay with the kids to so to give mom time for themselves, and then for them to turn around and make it like, oh, that's you being selfish.
Yeah.
Exterior people say stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
All right, mine comes from page 7, the perfection gap. And I have to find the best way before I start. And this is, I think I just relate to this a whole lot because I think I'm somebody, I want to be efficient, I want to be effective, I want to be sharp in what I do. And so I'll like, whether it's a diet or it's a workout plan or it's writing the book, like I just want to, do all of the research to find all of the tactics and all of the strategies and all of that. But then realizing and I love the visuals that some other people have painted when they describe this idea that there's a point of if you want to learn how to swim, like, can you learn something from a book without ever getting in water? Maybe. But
Yeah.
Eventually you just got to get in the water. And that's where you actually learn, hey, this is what it feels like. This is what your legs do. This is what your arms do. And this is what floating is. And this is what the traction creates. And so all of that to say is it's, instead of like thinking about perfection. So, again, weight loss is very, very relevant in our society. I think about it a lot in this era of my life for sure. And it's connected to health. And it's like, I think I was looking up the other day, like what percentage of people with diabetes have, are overweight or are obese. And it's like 85%, right? So just because you're not obese doesn't mean you're guarded from diabetes. But if you are obese, again, like there's a big connection between being obese and having diabetes. So that's something that's relevant when it comes to people's health. So sometimes people, and myself included, again, you want to get everything right from the get-go as opposed to just starting and making moves and making progress and then learning as you go. And then you could become, again, you don't have to be the expert as far as, the having all of the education credentials, but you could become the expert of yourself. Like, all right, I know when I eat or drink these things, it makes me gain more weight. I know when I do this activity, it makes me lose more weight. I know I could eat half of this. And sometimes people, I've been trying to write down this creative ideas of what I've used or leveraged to even lose weight, creative ways that, it's something I began calling like this idea of calorie shaving, which is how do you shave some calories off of a meal you normally would have without feeling bad? Because sometimes some of us grew up where it's like throwing food away is a no-no. Okay, if that's your value, that's okay. All right. So then let's say you go to get the Little Caesars pizza, which let's say you get the extra most bestest 2,500 calories in that pizza. All right, and that would put you over for the day because you ate something else for breakfast. Okay, so then half of that's 1,250. What do you do with the other half? Maybe you're somebody who I don't want to. If that person doesn't want to heat up the food for later, what do you do? Well, if you value giving to people in need, you can take half of that pizza and give it to somebody who's asking for food on the corner of the street, and now you're tapping into two things. One, you're shaving calories and eating half the pizza, but then two, you're also providing for somebody else that's in need, which also contributes to your own happiness. So now I'm investing in three things at once. So I'm investing in my own health, not eating as much as I normally would, and then two, in somebody else, and then three, my own happiness when I give something away. So now I'm really like, again, cooking with grease. I'm cooking with gas. Like I'm really moving at that point in time. So it's but again, it's just about moving, and then like as you see the results coming in, you could become the expert of your own body of what helps my abs look better, what helps my muscles look better, and what workouts actually work for me. When is it best for my brain? Because so much of this is psychological. when is it best for my brain to switch up my exercise because I'm getting bored, and there's a need that we seem to have for. There's a need we have for consistency, but there's also a need for variety. So when do I need to implement variety in my workout regimen so I don't get bored and worn out with this way of working out and being able to leverage all of those things? So anyway, I just appreciate this idea. As somebody explained it this way. They said, you don't have to see the whole staircase, but you do have to see and take the first step. And if you can do that, if you can take the first step and all you got to see is the next step, and then all you got to see is the following step after that. You don't have to get caught up with all of the steps from the very, very get-go. You can learn as you go. And I think that's so important for everybody with their growth. And it's so important for me in my growth.
Yeah. Oh. I find it, I don't know if this is like a personal thing, but whenever I'm going to start something, sometimes I really do just want to start before I'm looking into too much. You know, like Jeremy's real funny about things. Like, he has to look things up. He has to know the right way to do it before he starts. He'll spend all this time doing research, and then he starts. I get so anxious because I have to like physically like touch things and do things and understand before I start looking into things so that I can see where adjustments need to be made. And I know that maybe some people are not like that, and some people are able to do things differently. But like, so we had tried to find that, like, for an example, right? We tried to find the studs at our house. And we had a stud finder, and we were doing all these things, and we were trying, and I was like, I don't think we're doing this right. You know, I don't know if it's beeping the whole time. It's if I move in, and we looked up like 3 videos on how to find the stud finder. So then I'm just like, okay, you know what? I got the tiniest little drill bit I could find, the hole driller. Right. And I was like, I'm just gonna, so I started making holes right on every single like every inch or every half an inch. I started making holes, hole until I found all the studs. So that took me like 2 minutes. It didn't take me long at all. And I had what is it called? The wall filler. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'll just fill the wall. I'll fill the holes because I know how to drill the holes into the wall. I know how to fill the holes. So to me, it was like those, and it's gonna be behind the TV anyways. Nobody's gonna see. So then I was like, for me in my head, it was easier for me to just open it up, start pulling things out, start grabbing things, and start just going. For Jeremy, he's like, no, we have to look it up. What if it's not stable? What if it's not right? And I can understand, like, if I didn't know previously that the TV's supposed to be mounted to the studs, I could just mount it to the, if I didn't know, I could mount to the sheetrock. But because I have some prior knowledge about that, I think it is easier, like, sometimes when I start things. But I do, I think it does bother me sometimes when I'm like, just do it. Just, just go. Just start. Mm-hmm. And then, Jeremy's more like, well, let's make sure this is right. Let's make sure that, we're doing it right. And I'm like, no, open the bag and throw the screws everywhere. Just start putting the screws in each hole. You'll see which ones fit or not.
Well, it's interesting because I think when the stories that come to us, I try to be mindful of like, and maybe I was having conversations about this, and I gotta appreciate the friend group that I have because we have conversations about, it's interesting, like the number of stories that I tell, as we're all painting narratives and the stories that come to us in conversations like this. Again, we plan some of this, and then part of it we don't plan, and we just let things come to us as we go. And then so I think it's interesting too in our own personal development as we talk about a growth book like this, the laws of growth, as we think through the stories we tell, and then am I superior in the story or inferior in the story? Yeah. And then so you got to like be all of us have to be mindful of when, as a communicator, and I know for me, I've been given the microphone a lot in my own personal journey. That's good and it's bad. It's good. It was good and bad that I learned all on the way is when I have less time of preparation and I'm kind of just speaking. Like the first story that comes to me is, oh, I'm the hero of that story.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I'm the hero of this story too, and I'm the hero of this story over here. So now I have a full speech, and I'm doing it again. I'm giving it in a church setting, which they value humility and they
Yeah.
value modesty and meekness. These are all kind of similar phrases, and so when we discuss things, I think it's fascinating to think through when I'm painting myself as hero or superior, and then where my character aligns, and then when I'm always painting myself as superior, then it's like that. Then I can absolutely be narcissistic in where I would naturally lean, and then being mindful of going, oh, you know what? Because I do that, let me not be the hero, and let me think of stories and situations when I'm not that guy. All relevant, I think, when it comes to
Yeah.
digging through our stories.
Yeah. I do think that there's right and wrong ways to everything. I've broken things several times by ripping them open right away.
Yes.
Then Jeremy's like, you see? This is why I read the instructions first, because I'm pulling them out and then I'm like, ugh. He says,
As I talked to you earlier about maybe fixing my wood, whatever, serving plates downstairs.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, so connected to the wood serving plates, I was wondering about, because the crunchy people who are more health mindful say that it's better to cut on wood as opposed to
Plastic. Yeah.
And it's something that we're certainly starting to think about, especially with our son on the way, thinking about different ways of
reducing microplastics.
Yeah.
Your microplastic intake.
Is that really micro? I feel like that's pretty almost macro.
It will eventually create more microplastics.
I think they're so big though.
But it will still eventually, if you eat it, comes out, goes in wherever, it creates more microplastics.
Does the presence of bigger plastics, is it bigger just a combination of micro?
Yeah. I think all the plastic in the ocean didn't start out micro. It started out as big plastics. And then it's breaking down into
Yeah, I'm just saying that because like our cutting boards that we had that are plastic, you could see like pieces.
The little ridges.
So yeah.
And you don't see them right away, Like, I guess you can see them as you're going, but you don't see little pieces of shavings on your food.
Yeah, you do.
You do?
Well, again, like we're talking about the ones, yeah.
What are you making that you can see it? Like, is it dark foods?
I think so. Angelita's more would pick up on what if it's in the food or whatever. She'll see something and she's like, oh, that's a piece of the cutting board. Yeah, I probably would miss it and just think it's something else, like whatever, a piece of salt, because it's white. It's a white cutting board, so she'll see it.
Yeah, I would have. I'm sure I miss it because I don't really notice those things either.
Next week we're digging into chapter 2, and for anybody who's curious on what that chapter is going to be covering, it's the law of awareness. You must know yourself to grow yourself. Put a rhyme on it. Okay, number 5. We're going to be talking about Joe De Leon and this Twitter trend. Let me see if the tool actually works for us today. Let's see how this is working. And number 1. I'm going to make this tool work even if it doesn't. Okay.
Hi, everybody.
If I change... Oh, there we go. Me and you.
I can move.
There you go. Okay. So it is working now.
Great.
Let's see if I pull up. Let me get out of this real quick and come back to it.
Coolio. Oh, is that what you were looking at?
Okay. Let's see if I get this in.
In the pod with us? It's in the pod with us already.
Yeah. Now I'm moving it over.
It's not letting you move that way.
I have to move us to the other side
Okay.
because it's.
That did something.
There we go. All right. I'll read this article. You can read the next one.
Sounds good.
All right. This one says fantasy football punishment leads to hours at McDonald's. Fantasy football can offer positive experiences for those that participate. That is, unless you finish last in the league, where your punishment might be sitting in a McDonald's for 24 hours, unless you eat your way out of it. That's what Joe DeLeon had to go through Friday. DeLeon had simple rules to follow. Spend 24 hours in a McDonald's with specific food items, limiting the time he would have to spend in the fast food joints. I finished in last place in fantasy football, and tomorrow I have to do my punishments. I have to sit, he said on, but he meant at a McDonald's for 24 hours unless I can eat my way out of it. Here's the key I was given by a league mate for what I can eat to shorten my time. Let's see if this lets us click on it. I was always hesitant to see what it... Okay, it's going to take us...
Well, it's still open on the other side. Oh, it's going to open Twitter.
Okay, let's see if I go back. Okay, so I guess y'all can see that mostly. Okay, so for every item he eats, he could shave off time that he has to spend at McDonald's. So, for example, Egg McMuffin is 30 minutes. So if he eats 2 Egg McMuffins, shaves off an hour.
I think easily somebody could eat 48 of those. But maybe that's just my...
Well, some people had different tactics. Look at the hash browns was 25 minutes. But then, so that means if he ate 4, or I guess I'm doing some bad math. 10 is 250 minutes, which is already 4 hours and 10 minutes, I think. Yeah, 4 hours and 10 minutes.
Yes.
So it already shaves it. But he was limited on the number of hash browns he could eat. For example, he could only eat 17 or something like that. And so let's go back to see the article. So this is all the items. And then one of them was
McCrispy.
The ball pit. If he eats one ball in the ball pit. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's not eating the ball. If he sits in the ball pit, but the McDonald's he ended up going to didn't have a ball pit, so that didn't even count. So then you see apple slices $5. He gets some fruit in his diet, and then a bunch of other items. This is making me really hungry, actually.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. And I'm about to go to McDonald's and I leave here.
All right, let's finish the article. Okay. One of DeLeon's friends put together the spreadsheet that assigned times to each item. A Big Mac would deduct 45 minutes, while a big breakfast with hotcakes would be worth 2 hours. Conversely, spending time in the ball pit at the play place would deduct 5 minutes. DeLeon opted for a specific strategy, limited himself to around 6,000 calories with an hour left at McDonald's. Here are some highlights of his journey, which he documented on X. 10:41. DeLeon made it clear in his first video he wasn't here to mess around. I'm going to get out of here as quickly as I can, he said. I'm not sitting here hanging out. The process began with 2 big breakfasts, which includes a biscuit, scrambled eggs, hash browns, and sausage for 760 calories per serving. DeLeon has also added 17 hash browns, which if finished, would deduct 7 hours. That's him. And 11 a.m. Confidence was high after finishing the second big breakfast, though the hash browns were still untouched. Said, light work. 12:11. Speaking of those hash browns, DeLeon acknowledged that they were a trap. He also elaborated that ordering all of them at once was a mistake. The hash browns were a trap. 201. After originally ordering 10 apples, De Leon went back for 10 more. Each apple slice deducted 5 minutes, but most importantly, they were lightweight, offering a balance to the other items he ate. They also became an effective strategy of shortening the time. At this point, De Leon said his goal was to leave 5:30 p.m. and mapped out his next meals. He ordered more apples. We got 7 hours to go, gearing up for another big dent. He says, they think I'm some moron who's obsessed with apples. They wanted an update on what the employees thought. 3:58. 3 orders of McChickens led to just 3 hours remaining for his punishment. De Leon expressed confidence he'd be free soon, calling the challenge light work. We're about to be in and out of here, he said. 3 McChickens and 3 hours left. 412. There's nothing like cashing in the points gained on a food app. De Leon reached nearly 10,000 points on the McDonald's app, almost enough to get a free Big Mac or quarter pounder with cheese. 5:57. A final McChicken and 3 apple slices finally put the challenge to rest. 8 hours later, De Leon came out victorious, knocking off 16 hours. His final tally of meals came out to 2 big breakfasts, 17 hash browns, 4 McChicken, and 23 apple slices. He said his brain was fried and he felt awful, but acknowledged the challenge was still fun. Really fun. It was just cool to see how everyone was supporting this because it's just a fun, stupid thing to do in the off season, De Leon said. And that's it.
That was funny.
How do you think you would do?
I think I'd be chilling.
Would you be able to get out of there in 8 hours? Or how long would it take you?
It would probably take me...
You probably stayed there the whole 24.
No, it would probably take me 12 hours, and I would just be eating like 2 McChickens every hour. So that would probably get me out in like 10 hours. So probably for 10 hours, I could eat 2 McChickens every hour.
Yeah. Do you think being pregnant will give you an advantage or disadvantage?
Definitely disadvantage.
Some people... some people had say the phrase eating for 2, and then other people said that the math is like whatever 300 or 400 calories more. For you, what would you say? How much more of a human being are you eating for?
I also breastfeed an 11-month-old Derek. So really, I am not eating anywhere near as much as I should be.
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
Really, I'm just trying to survive. And I'm trying to not yak. Because, man, at least... once a day at some random point in time in the day, I just all of a sudden get real sick, and then I'm like, where's my medicine?
Try not to yak is a hilarious way to put it.
Yeah. Or like Jeremy and I will be on the way to like, go get food, or we're going somewhere where someone's cooking or something like that, and like I can feel myself starting to get sick. And I'm like, I'm getting sick. I'm like, okay, well. So I'm like, well, let's just go get where we're going, get food going, So I can feel myself getting sick, or I'll even be making myself food, and I'm like, I'm not feeling good. But once I get all my food ready, all done, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes for my nausea medicine to kick in.
Yeah.
So as soon as I'm like getting near the end of like about to eat, I'll take the medicine. So then it works, and then I can eat.
Are roll-ups off your diet or still in there?
No, I had like 2. I had like 3 last night.
It still didn't bring me any.
No, I didn't. Every time Kalal sees me eating them, he knows. So he's like, he starts screaming, like, you better give me some.
Has he tasted it?
Yeah. But I chew it. Really, really soft and malleable before I give it to him, so that it just, and I give him tiny, tiny little pieces at a time, so that it just melts in his mouth.
Yeah.
Because, I don't want to choke my son. So, any updates?
On knowing the gender of your kid? You want to check it right now, live?
Check.
And you see my face?
When was the last time you checked?
This morning.
Oh, okay.
I think it was this morning. It could have been last night. All right. For anybody who doesn't know, I am the keeper of the gender, meaning I know Aimee's or I have access to know Aimee's next kid's boy or
Gender.
girl.
So none of my results have come in?
No.
Okay.
I'll know right now if it's still not in. Have you been tempted at all to check?
Yes. It's like, maybe I should just log in. Just see if the results have came in.
Do y'all know what park you're going to go to find out?
Yeah, somewhere I saw.
Oh, yeah. Am I doing something more? Am I, like, going to the bakery or something?
Yeah.
Nope. No active tests.
Okay, perfect.
I think we might be stuck on one visual, maybe. Oh, you know what we are? No, I know what we are. I was changing the camera and everything wasn't working, but now we should be back. Got it. Okay. Where are we at? Okay, so we had
No update on the gender.
no update on the gender.
They did not take this long the first time
Okay,
I was pregnant.
the second thing, I guess the TikTok trend. It's not like even a trend that's even right now, but let's go to that as well. And this one,
Is it the monkey one?
is that a new one?
Oh, no. Yeah, that's a new one.
was with what you just did? Is that connected to it?
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, no. Oh, no. That's what the monkey says. That's funny.
All right, let's see. Where's my mouse? All right, let's go to here. You go. This one is the one you can read. Let's see if I can make it bigger for you.
Is it still McDonald's?
Yeah, it's a theme.
Okay.
I should have put like the McDonald's arches or something in our thumbnail, but okay. All right, go ahead.
A 57-year-old man documented eating McDonald's for 100 days on TikTok, and says he somehow lost weight. What?
All right, do you want to read those
I
bullet
was like,
points, or do you want to
do
go
I
to the
have to
article?
read those bullet points?
Okay, yeah.
I didn't think those were important. A 15-7-year-old man documented eating McDonald's for 100 days on TikTok and says he lost 58.5 pounds in the process. Kevin from Nashville said he was going to eat McDonald's every day for 100 days back in February, and he just hit his milestone.
This year, right? Or is it last year?
It says
it's
June
last year.
2nd.
Yeah.
Last year?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay. His strategy, he said, was to eat there 3 times a day, but cut the meals in half. He also vowed to not have any snacks and only drink water. I woke up this morning and I weighed in at 238 pounds, Magnus said in his first TikTok of the journey. And I decided that is absolutely unacceptable. So I drove down to McDonald's. Magnus appeared on NBC's Today to explain more. He shared before and after photos showing a significant change in his body, and he said he felt amazing. By his reckoning, he ended up at just under 180 pounds. Per CDC statistics, the change brought him below the average weight for a U.S. male of 199.8 pounds. He said he allowed himself to order anything on the McDonald's menu and never counted the calories. So I've eaten Big Macs, Quarter Pounders, pick a number with the fries. He said, don't be bitter while I'm eating my apple fritter and losing weight. Magnus also said his health had improved in other ways too. He said his levels of triglyceride, a type of fat that circulates in the blood, was down 205 points, and his cholesterol was down by 65 points. Magnus said he was not affiliated with McDonald's and hadn't been sponsored by them to do the challenge, but they did send him a gift box. He said he chose McDonald's in the first place because his nickname was Big Mac, and he thought it would be a good fit. Tara Schmidt, the lead registered dietitian for the new Mayo Clinic diet, told Fortune that Magnus' method worked because it was calorie-based weight loss. He was simply burning more calories than he was consuming. However, weight is not the only measure of health, she pointed out. In the realm of food choices, it's also notable to consider the quality of food being consumed and its impact on your body, she said. Highly processed and fried foods, for instance, can increase your risk of developing heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and cancer due to the inflammation they can cause. One study from 2021 found that one small portion of fried food per week was associated with a 3% increase risk of heart attack and stroke, and a 2% increased risk of heart disease and 12% increase risk of heart failure. Magnus said health was his priority for the next 100 days, telling the Today Show he was going to attempt a 100-foot rope climb, but not before his last McDonald's meals. 6 chicken nuggets. Whoa.
What are your thoughts? He lost 50.
8 something.
50. Yeah, that was 58, right?
I thought so. Yes.
58 and a half pounds in the process.
I'm confused. Was the dietitian trying to say that he still's probably going to die of heart disease?
Because of the quality of food that's associated with fried food. So you can go to McDonald's. You can still lose weight. You can stop making excuses.
And still die.
And just put in the work. So you don't have to have the perfect meal to get in better shape. So bring it on.
Yeah. But I do think that certain belly pudges will not completely go away if you are eating fried food, which I understand.
Belly pudges go away.
Will not go away.
You just had this random belief?
No, I think it's because I've done a little bit of research on how to...
Research, meaning she read Reddit.
It was before I was an avid Reddit user. It was a couple of years ago. I had read that certain, like omega-3s and omega-6s, certain ones are good, like for different areas of body fat. You know, like omega-3s go, body fat goes to different parts of your body versus like omega-6. So, yeah, I think fried food tends to go to your belly more. So if you want to, you will lose weight in other places because the fat is going to your belly first when you eat those types of food.
Research, you say?
Yeah, it was definitely a few years ago, though.
Think it's changed?
No, because it was working.
On who?
When I was doing it, when I was like figuring it out.
So,
Maybe it's just my body. But Mom tried it too, and she said it helped.
I think we need some measurements to make this data accurate.
Derek, I'm pregnant. So if you take my measurements now, I'm only going to get bigger.
True.
Yes.
Okay. Number 7. Aimee's current event, retiring from softball.
Yes, sadly.
I don't see how I was the last person to know about your decision.
You weren't the last one. I told you second.
I had to reach out to you to find this detail out after I was told by somebody else.
Well, I had to tell Scott because I didn't know if I was still supposed to register because I had said I was going to do it. So then I was like, should I still register and just not play?
Mm-hmm.
So there was that. So I felt sadness. I felt compelled to quit after my fall.
Is this public news? I guess it is now.
Yeah. I told Jeremy after all.
The way you say it. Okay. Compelled to. So.
Yeah, because I think I freaked everyone out a little
Who's everyone?
on our team.
Mm.
I'm sure that everyone on our team was a little freaked out when I fell.
Yeah. What do you think is the best response to have in that situation? Because part of it, I saw the umpire's position, and if you don't know what this means, let me see if I can go to a better angle. All right. So in the softball league, if the umpire does this, you know what this is?
No, I have no idea what that means.
Okay. This means that there was an interference and that you can go to progress to the next base without being out.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember when I ran over one of the girls,
Yeah.
and and after that happened, he put out this position, and he said he can't tell you live during the play, but if you look at him and see him doing that, you know you could progress to the next base and not be out.
Yeah.
But if you choose not to go, you're stuck on whatever base you were at. So I'm seeing this play out where I see you getting up from being down, not sure what happened, and I see the ump holding out this position, and so now I know you can run without the threat of being out. But then I'm like also thinking about, should I not be thinking about the progress in the game and more thinking
after she
about
was just laying on the ground.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was all over the place. Ooh.
So you're done until the baby's here.
Yeah, I'm done till the baby's here. But I'm ready to write down everybody's stats so that when I join the team, we can cut some loose fat.
Oh my gosh. Can I be honest with you?
Yes.
I don't think that you're actually going to be at every game. I think your commitment level is going to move from here down to here.
I'm sure I'm going to go because I can take Kalel.
It's hot.
So?
I thought that was one of the reasons he wasn't going to the prior games. In July and August are only getting... it's supposed to be hotter in July and August than June.
Well, I have a fan that you can put water in. Ice water. I haven't been bringing Kalel mainly because it is hot and it's hot. He's going to be frustrated. He's not going to really want to hang out with anybody else besides me. So it's like on top of the heat, you know? If I'm there, he can probably put up with the heat. He'll be fine.
Got it. So can I be honest with you again?
Yeah.
I didn't actually believe what I just said about you not being there. I mostly wanted to use reverse psychology because what is it about human beings that there's a part of us that's wired to be motivated to prove somebody wrong as opposed to receive an encouragement and go in that direction. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to tell you that I don't believe that you're actually going to be there could be more motivating for you to actually be there.
I wonder that sometimes, you know, like when I'm trying to get mom to do something. I'm not going to specify what it is I try to get her to do. But, you know, if I try to get mom to do something, and then I'm like, I think we're just making things worse here, and that we're not going to finish. She loses all motivation. But then if I praise her and I say, oh, man, I'm so glad that you've gotten to this point, she's so happy. She's content. She doesn't have to keep going. I'm like, how am I supposed to motivate you? But yeah. I'm sure I'll go. So you tried to reverse psychology me?
Yeah, which is why I was honest the second time.
I'm going to go. I'll be there to cheer you on. Record your stuff. Thoughts, ideas?
Oh, you said I was a third person to know?
Well, Diamond didn't really know.
When did you communicate to Scott?
3 days ago? 4?
From the day that I messaged you?
Yeah. What day did you message me? That wasn't like 2 days ago?
Probably was.
Yeah, probably
Saturday.
2 days before that. Or a day before that.
So you don't think it's important to tell your brother a decision you're making that affects him, and to tell Scott instead first?
Scott's the team captain.
This is true.
But yeah, I was gonna tell you, but I didn't want to break your heart. So
you rather Scott be the one to give me the news about your life?
Unfortunately, I'm on avoider.
What if I was
Crazy?
that too, but sincerely bothered that you told Scott before you told me? What if I was kind of like oddly
Narcissistic?
that too, but also possessive?
Weird.
Okay.
I would think that's weird.
Okay, so then if we go to the batting cage, are you going to go to batting cage?
Yeah.
Are you still going to bat?
Yeah. I think it's the running, the bases, that's the scary part. I don't get scared of hitting the ball, or the ball hitting me. I can jump out the way. What's unpredictable is getting knocked over on the way to the bases. Yeah, because when that guy tagged me out also at third, he like tried to slice at my legs. I thought I was going to fall again. I was like...
He tried to slice at your legs.
Well, he hit like my shins with the ball, with his glove. You know what I mean?
So you're saying it was hard. He didn't like softly, gently.
No, yeah. He was like... like a fan. Like he catapulted it sideways. But yeah, I thought he was gonna take my legs out, and then I was gonna be on the ground again.
Yeah. Got it. Okay.
I thought I was the only one who thought that, and then Jordan was like, "Man, I know they say like tag low on girls, but he like was really low on your legs there." And then Diamond was like, "That guy almost knocked you down by taking out your legs." I was like, "Yeah, I guess." So, yeah.
I have some news. Softball. After this season, I won't be playing.
Oh no. Ever again?
No, I probably for August and September. With like babies coming.
How exciting.
So I didn't tell you first. How do you feel? I told Scott first.
That's okay.
You don't feel betrayed?
Maybe the whole team will disperse, and then when we bring everyone back together,
narcissist.
we can drop anybody who is not dedicated. Scott. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Okay. Next current event is Father's Day. How was it for you?
Oh, it was great. It was just me.
How did you honor your father?
I let him make me a burger.
See, that's the problem with people like you. How did you honor your father, I said?
This was his first Father's Day as a grandpa. Well, kind of. Well, celebrating as a grandpa with his grandson.
Okay. So, Okay, back to the question. So did you do anything to honor your father?
I told him Happy Father's Day.
That's it? I feel like your standards are so low.
I went swimming with him with Kalal.
Doesn't cut it.
Hmm.
Do you disagree? Do you sincerely disagree?
Yes, I sincerely disagree.
That you honored him in a suitable way for a father.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How did you honor your husband, Jeremy?
Well, he was supposed to make the burgers,
You're digging yourself deeper.
but he didn't make the burgers.
So why didn't you make the burgers?
Because I am trying to kill two birds with one stone, and Jeremy, if he's gonna make the burgers for Kalal's birthday, he needed to practice at least once before then. So I thought he would make the burgers for Father's Day.
Yeah, I'm still struggling with this this connection because part of let's take you out of the scenario. Can I talk to? The idea of being the youngest sibling girl is that there's an element of entitlement, expressed or unexpressed, and it's people are willing to do things for you as the youngest and as the youngest girl. And again, that's not even talking about you, but then so when the youngest girl actually becomes this woman living in her agency, it's where she becomes a provider for others, whether it's preparing a meal for her parents or preparing a meal for husband, and like being this, hey, I'm gonna provide this. So anyway, what are your thoughts about this idea of when that transition takes place into the youngest one is not, hey, what's being done for me, but what I'm doing for the others?
Like, when does my mind think that?
No, when does in other words, like, at what point would do you think of a transition where it's like you are the active provider of meals for your dad? Not like he's whatever disabled and not able to, but at the point where it's like, no, where the common structure shifts to, hey, no, where you actually provide more meals for your dad than he provides for you, as far as preparation. What do you think about that?
Like, when that will happen?
Yeah.
Never. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe never. Just because he doesn't like what I cook.
Like what?
He doesn't like spaghetti. He doesn't like American food. I like
So
spaghetti.
it would bother you that much to figure out something that he does like that you cook?
I guess not. I guess I do make some things he'll eat.
Okay, cool. I was just curious.
But like, to make it all the time, like, he makes food. They make food all the time. Like, I do not make food. Like, they make food all the time that I will eat.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can't make enough food that he'll want to eat that's going to be more than the food that he makes for me. Does that make sense?
No, I think I get the concept, but I think there is roles that have been so maybe defined and built into, oh, I have the role as youngest daughter, youngest child that y'all provide for me. Eventually, though, adulthood is becoming a provider, and like, actually, it's where it's and then again, I don't think it has to become like, mathematically you provide more, but more of the regular occurrence of, hey, Dad, I actually want to prepare a meal for you. Hey, Mom, I actually want to prepare a meal for you and Dad. Like that, to me, that seemed like a massive shift. Or maybe it's not even like preparing the meal. Maybe it's like, hey, when we're gonna go out, hey, I actually want to go out and I want to pay for y'all to have a meal. Yeah. So to me, that's a shift. And maybe it's a different kind of thought process for the youngest child that, again, I've never experienced, compared to different settings. So what are your thoughts?
Ooh. Not sure. I think I'm very much youngest daughter. I guess.
You said the most obvious. Oh, I'm a human being.
Yeah, that's it. That's
I
it.
am a man.
I think I play my role. I do. Yeah. When do I think I'm going to get to a point where that becomes a shift at any point? Are you saying like,
Well,
have I done anything like that now? I do buy him a gift for his birthday.
Okay, cool. Again,
And for mom on her birthday.
yeah, right. Which is fine and not nothing. It's not nothing. But the shift into so there seems to be this thing that happens or can happen, again, depending on every relationship is going to be different, but where there's a shift from, hey, we're adult to adult, and I want to not repay like you could ever repay all the stuff that they've done for you, but the idea of, hey, I want the experience of you as my parents receiving from me this as well.
I felt like they were nagging me forever to have a kid.
I hear what you're saying, but maybe.
So I think that Kalala's gift enough.
Sure, it absolutely is a gift for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the topic of the discussion. The discussion is the idea of like shifting, like the element of providing.
Mm-hmm. I think they're both too independent for that.
So then, if they express that they would be really encouraged by that, would you shift your mind?
Yeah, sure. But I mean, there is some things like I try to. Let's see. I've tried to reorganize at the house, at mom's house.
Yeah.
So that she doesn't have to. So like that.
Yeah. Again, it's not for me. It's not like pulling out an assessment and going through it. But I just wonder what that's like, because there is again this broad spectrum of ideas that you have access to when you talk to people, and they go, "Oh, I never got a chance to experience this part of life," which was, again, whether it's taking my parents out to eat, or it's cooking a meal for both of my mom and my dad, or some of the things like that people go, "Oh, I didn't experience that." And then what it's like as youngest child, youngest girl, what that feels like in those shifts into what some would call like the adult to adult, we're peers, as opposed to, no, we're not peers. So peers, like there's times, if we're using the peers all the way around, there's times when I go out with Jetty where, hey, I'm paying. There's times when he pays or whatever. So there's a peer element to it, and there's an element of progressing into that with parents that some people really value that part of the story and journey.
Oh. It's not important to me.
Which, but that's part of it. That's part of it is it's not about you. It's about them. So it's figuring out, like how could our relationship get even better than whatever it is now? That's the idea.
Okay. I'm not sure where we're supposed to go from here in the conversation.
Okay. Anyway.
I know, like, there has been, especially times when I was, especially when I was by myself before I had a kid, where I would do more things for my parents.
Yeah.
And, like, more, But because now it's like everything's a discussion, everything's a discussion of like, what do we have with, talking to Jeremy about it and making sure we also have for Kalal. So it's like everything has to be like, I can't just go and make a decision about where I'm going to spend money or, spend my time and then not have like to talk to Jeremy about it and think about Kalal. But like for my birthday, like for my 21st birthday when we went out of town, I know that I paid for like all of the activities that we did and like our hotel stay for all of us.
Yeah.
So it was like that. And I was happy about that. I was happy. I was proud of myself to be able to do that. But it's like I can't afford to pay for
for
six people to go skiing and a hotel, for however many days and all this stuff now and to take like classes or whatever. But it's like, at that point in time, because I was single by myself, worked a lot, made money, I was able to do it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
But yeah.
Last thing was, we didn't have to read the article, but Gen Z, there's like 26% of Gen Z individuals taking their parents to their job interviews with them.
Like, are they waiting in the car?
No, I think there's also a lot of Zoom interviews that they're also like zoomed into. I guess we could read the article if we wanted
Wait,
to.
like their parents? Like, okay.
Okay, I guess we got to read it.
Okay, what's upsetting me about that one is like Jeremy's kind of funny too. Like I get so nervous when he has to do like any kind of interview or any kind of talking without me there. Like I can see why people would need that for somebody who doesn't like speak to people. Well, I guess maybe. Oh, maybe that makes sense. Because I would love I would prefer that if Jeremy was doing anything like that, I would go with him.
All right. This is on thehill.com. 26% of Gen Z applicants bring in parents to job interviews, according to a study. Majority of on-camera parents spoke directly to the hiring manager. It does not signal confidence to a hiring company, is what the resume writer said. All right, let's see what happened. Some Gen Z respondents need help from their parents during a job interview, according to a new survey. Resume Templates survey found that 26% of the Gen Z respondents actually involved their parents in the interview process. 31% of those respondents had a parent accompany them to an in-person interview, and 29% had them join a virtual interview. For those that said they had a parent come with them to an in-person interview, 37% of respondents said they had their mom or dad come into the office. And 26% of respondents said one of their parents physically sat in the room while the interview took place. For those that had a parent near them during a virtual interview, 71% said their parent was off camera, while 29% said their parent was visible on camera. The majority of on-camera parents spoke directly to the hiring manager, according to the survey. It's understandable, parents wanting to ensure that their child does well in an interview or that an employer is reputable. Conversely, it's hard to see where a parent being directly involved in an interview is appropriate, executive resume writer Andrew Stoner told Resume Templates. It does not signal confidence to a hiring company on behalf of the child. I recommend a help at a distance approach of being available and advising the child during the recruiting process.
Ew.
Any thoughts there?
Gross. Gross. Yeah. I can see how it's hard though. Like, especially the problem, I think, especially with all of this, is that parents want so bad to get their kids out of their house. So, like, right now, our generation is staying and living with their parents till they're, like, well into their 30s. So, I think parents are so one, if you live with your parents, there's a higher chance they're going to be there when you do this interview, and they're going to ask to sit in on the interview to make sure that you're saying the right thing. One, because they want you out of their house. They want you on your own. So they're feeling the pressure of like, I really want you to get this job. So I want to make sure you do everything right. So I want to sit in and watch, because a lot of times people will say like, oh yeah, I'm going to get a job. Oh yeah, I'm going to go apply for these places. And then they don't. And they're like, well, it's because I'm nervous, or it's because I don't want to say the wrong thing, because that's, that's the same problem that I think everybody's having right now. They're like, or as like the book said, you want to make sure that you're doing it right, so you don't do it at all. So I think that's what's happening a lot with our generation, that we're doing all this research, spending all this time like, how do I get a job? How do I make money? How do I make money fast? And nobody's actually going out and getting a job. So I think parents are getting nervous and like upset that they're hovering now. They're like, you have to move on. You have to get out of the house. You have to start doing something else. And I think that it's directly responsible for stuff like this happening. Embarrassing though.
So mom said, hey, we want you to do some interviews at the daycare. And then they had brought their parents in to do some of the interviews. What would you say?
Mom, do you want a job here as well? Y'all can both work. I will put y'all in the same room, but y'all have to show up every day.
And then she said, no, actually, I just want to make sure my daughter.
Okay, then get out of here.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right. Any last words?
No Peroni.
All right, everybody. See you next Tuesday. If you don't know yourself, you can't grow yourself. I believe it's something about that chapter. Anyway, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.